learned from one of my favorite movies, Soul. But before that, let me ask you some questions. Have you ever felt like you're not good enough? Maybe you compare yourself with others. You shouldn't see anything as a small thing, right? And there's also a scene in this movie, in the Soul movie, where someone tells Joe a story about a fish. So this fish swims up to an older fish and says, I try to find something that people call the ocean. The ocean, says the older fish. That's what you're in right now. This, says the younger fish. This is water. What I want is the ocean. That story, such a great story and such a reminder for us that sometimes we were so busy chasing more and looking for something that we forget we already have enough. That what we're looking for are already around us. So from Joe and 22 story, we can learn two important things about happiness and life. Joe's story reminds us that big achievements won't make you happy if you can't accept yourself, if you can't accept who you are. While 22 shows us that the small and ordinary moments can give life its meaning. Because life isn't found in perfection, but in being true to who we are and being grateful for what's around us. So, if you ever feel like you're not good enough, remember that you are already enough. With all your imperfections, struggles, or problems, you are perfect exactly as you are. And even when you don't know how you're gonna do with your life, that's okay. That's okay. You just have to live every minute of it. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, next we have Adi Imam Maulana.
What are your thoughts of the word confessing feelings? Sweating palms, or maybe sweating palms, or maybe sweating palms, or maybe sweating palms, or it can be raise heartbeat, maybe okay. What are your thoughts of the word confessing feelings? Maybe fear that held you back to confessing. That moment is about confessing love, or maybe speaking of confessing love, it reminds me to my friends when my friend is about to confessing to someone that my friend love. They always consulting me what they need to do, what they should wear when we in front of their love. and so on. Unfortunately,
raise heartbeat.
my friend is accepted as my. And unfortunately, my friend was accepted by someone that they love. Confessing love is not about just saying some words. It's about the courage and brave enough to reveal our feelings. Speaking of confessing love, I may not be a love, I may not a love expert, but I have seen and experienced that my friend love come with that moment.
Me, what they need to do,
If my friend even saying that confessing love is like a situation life and death,
unfortunately,
because it was very hard to say.
am I
Confessing love is there's a negative side about confessing love when we hold back.
someone that they love?
The first one is of course negative effect, overthinking. When we keep our feelings to ourselves
And
we
brave enough to reveal our feelings. Speaking of
we our mind will fill with a word what if I get rejected, what if I not good enough, what if I ruin this friendship,
that moment, me, what they need to do.
and this can lead to
My friend
this
even
can
say
lead to
that confessing love is
this can lead to
life and death, unfortunately, because it was very hard to.
this can lead to
Confessing love is there's a negative side about
this can
confessing
lead
love when
to
we hold back someone.
the
first one is
with
of
daily
course,
life,
negative.
like not focusing
Overthinking.
about the
When
project
we
or
keep
so on.
our feelings to ourselves.
The second one is building self. The second one is losing opportunity, holding back from confessing. It can be losing opportunity because when we held our confessing, we
ruin this friendship. This can lead
it might
to
be that someone else that already confessed. Not only that, it might be also the person that we like is waiting to ask for confessing. Can you imagine the losing opportunity just because we are not aware of that? It really hurts, right?
the first one is
With daily
of course,
life,
negative.
the last one is jealousy built up. Have you ever watched that someone you like
The second one is building self. The second one
going
is
to
losing opportunity.
hang
Holding
out,
back from
and even though they are not having a relationship between them,
when we held our
but it still hurts.
confessing, we ruin this friendship.
Okay. And if you ignore this situation, it will be built up, and
Not only that,
sometimes it can be aggression. So you need to be careful about that.
is waiting to ask for
Now the next one is when there's light, there are also shadows.
losing opportunity.
When there's a negative side, there are also a positive side.
It really hurts, right?
The first one is emotional freedom. When we confessing our feelings to someone we love, we already feel
The second one is
freedom. 100% we are not getting an opportunity again. The second one is building self-confidence. By confessing love, you face your emotions and overthinking directly, which makes you more confident.
if you
The third is improving communication skills.
it will
While we are confessing love, we are choosing a good words, good sentence or phrases, right? And
now the next one is
this is increase our personality probability of being accepted. So this one is
also a
for you.
positive side. It really hurts, right? The first
As
one
we
is
reach as we reach the end of my speech, I want to summarize all the points that I have discussed. When we hold back our feelings, we risk overthinking, leasing opportunities,
100% we are
and
not
jealousy built up.
getting a
But when we are confessed,
The
we
second
are
one is building
freedom,
self-confidence.
free,
By confessing love, you
and grow in self-confidence and strengthen our communication skills.
which makes you more
Confessing love is not only about romance, it's about courage, growth, and honesty with ourselves.
confessing love.
Whether the answer is yes or no, confessing love is already a victory. Thank you.
Phrases, right? And this will increase our personality, the probability of being
Okay, thank you.
as we reach the end.
Thank you, Adi. Now we will have our fourth speaker, Muhammad Daifa.
When we hold back our and jealousy built up. But when we are confessed, we are free. By confessing love, and grow in self-confidence and strengthen our communication skills, which makes you more. Confessing love is
All right.
not only about
Let me start with a question.
It's about courage.
When was the last time that you truly
The answer is yes or
lost track of time doing something
it's already
that you
a
love?
victory. Thank you.
Maybe it was back when you were growing, cooking, playing games, or even playing music.
Okay, thank you.
Well, whatever it was, that feeling
Thank you,
of
Adi. Now we
joy,
will have
focus,
our fourth
and
speaker,
freedom.
Muhammad Daifa.
is what hobbies give us. Studies in psychology shows that creative hobbies can reduce anxiety and build resilience. Hobbies can also be an outlet for self-expression and creativity. They also can give us the opportunity to form friendship and belonging. When was the last time? Good morning, everyone. My name is Muhammad Rifan Rajasana Pratama Putra, and today I'll show you how hobbies can strengthen both our well-being and our connection with others. Hobbies may seem like simple pastimes,
Thank you.
but they actually shape who we really are in meaningful of ways even.
And freedom.
They give us space for self-expression and creativity, helping us find like part of ourselves and explore it and share it and build resilience. And I'll share an example from my own experience. In the free community, people create their own unique characters to represent aspects of themselves. They usually represent it through art, costume, or storytelling. I'll show you. Many, including myself, find a greater sense of confidence and freedom to express their identity. And it's not just a personal feeling. Research even proves this. Psychology studies show that doing creative activities like drawing, writing, or crafting can reduce our stress and build emotional resilience. And I'll share an example through this from my own experience. Through hobbies, we're not only just passing time, we are actually developing our mental and emotional health. So in a way, we are actually just discovering part of who we are. But hobbies are not just ways to express yourself. Hobbies can also be used to connect with others. Research even proves this. Hobbies, one of the most beautiful things about it is that it gives you the opportunity to form friendship and belonging along the way. So, think about it. Community events like furry conventions or online art group or gaming communities. People bond over the same interests and passion and emotional health. And This space gives bring this individual together who have not will not met otherwise. And if they are sharing the same hobbies, they will
Hobbies can also be
form a meaningful and long-lasting relationship. And what makes this connection so special is because that they're based on genuine
friendship
enthusiasm.
belonging along the way.
When people share the same hobbies, conversation can flow more naturally,
Events like
and they also put down their barriers, and friendships can grow a lot stronger.
bond over the same interests.
For example, in the free community, many people form lifelong friendships just through meetings and art collaboration. What started as a shared hobby turned into a deep belonging and support.
Form a meaningful
And so,
long-lasting relationship.
hobby aren't just about what we do.
Connection so special.
It's about who we do them with and the community we build along the way.
enthusiasm.
As we've seen,
When people
hobbies
share the same
are
hobbies,
not just ways to fill your free time.
natural
They allow us to express ourselves and connect us with others in meaningful ways. Hobbies also give us joy, belonging,
For
and
example,
even a boost to our happiness. So, whether your hobby is drawing, cooking, collecting, or maybe even playing games, just remember that hobbies aren't just ways to fill your free time.
belonging
They are actually about creating a happier and more fulfilling
what we
Thank
do.
you.
Okay, thank you. Next we are having Siti Nurdiana.
When people share the same hobbies, are not just
Ways to fill your free
Siti
time.
Nurdiana here already?
They allow us to
No?
express ourselves, connect us with others in meaningful ways. Hobbies also give us joy,
Aprilia Nanda.
even a boost to our happiness. So, whether your hobby is drawing, cooking, collecting, just remember that hobbies aren't just ways to fill your free time. They are actually about creating a happier and more fulfilling what we do.
Okay, thank you. Next we are having Siti Nurdiana. Siti Nurdiana here already? No? Aprilia Nanda.
Good morning, everyone. Okay, so let's have a little flashback. Do you remember when we first time we met in this major, especially in this class? Yes? No? Yeah. Yeah. At that time, we didn't know each other yet. Yeah, most of you didn't know of your friends. You not yet make friends with your classmates.
We are having Siti Nurdiana.
At that time, I need to I introduce myself to every people I met in this class. Like, hello, my name is Nanda. What's your name? Where you come from? What's your hobby? And do the small talks. And we have met a lot of people, right?
Aprilia Nanda.
In today's speech, I will share you. Good morning, everyone. One of the important skills,
So let's
the
have a little
ability
flashback.
in
You remember
and
when
that is important than
we,
ever,
first time
which
we
is
met in
how
this major, especially
which
in
is
this class?
getting along with new
Yes?
people. No, yeah. These skills not only
Yeah, at
build
that
your
time,
friendship,
we didn't know
but
each
it
other.
also provides
mostly
the
of-
opportunity that even can change your lives in the future. I will share you why socializing is beneficial for your personal growth and it can lead a network for your opportunity in the future. Last year, I have new friends from Thailand when I went to an event at GIICA. The first time we are strangers, but I make a friend with her. I introduce myself. Hello, I'm Nanda. Where you come from? She said she from Thailand, and then we being a good friends. And unfortunately, I have one of my course need a foreigners to be a speakers for that project. So I invite her, and then it works. She be my speaker for my project. So let's have a look. There is a lot of people in this world, right? And they have, each of them has their own uniqueness, have their own potential skills, and have their own perspective to see something. And last month, actually, I also met the new friends from another major in this college, also from Japan and Panama. At a time, I was in a competition event and I have no friend in there. I have two choices. I quit. I didn't make a friend with them. On the opposite. So I do the opposite. I make a friend with them. And we'll being the good friends until now. Even we went to a cafe, we have a dinner, even we went to a holiday trip together to the beach. So you can imagine how exciting it is, right? And it doesn't matter if you consider yourself as an introvert, because sometimes I realize myself is an introvert. But in reality, socializing can develop your confidence. Just in Indonesia we say sok up, so akrab, but it's okay. That's one of the way we can make a friend with new people we met, right? So, in this today's world, you are familiar with the word networking, right? Like every people you met, and then just make a friend, and then you ask for their Instagram. Please follow my Instagram. Let's be mutual to keep your connection. And then if you talk with your friends, like, oh, you know her, yeah, I met in the event. That's the networking. And from everything I have said before, all of it actually can help you build your network. You can widen your network. And someone said, networking is an essential part of building wealth. And that someone is Armstrong Williams, an American commentator and entrepreneur. So the opportunities from that networking can lead to your success if you can handle them well. I think let's not be afraid to make a friend with other people. Like, don't be nervous, just be yourself. And yeah, make a friend with them, gain the positive. Thank you.
Thank you. Next we have Vinka.
So, nanti saya cuma bilang next slide. Hello everyone. Okay, I'm Vinka Julialta, and before I start, I want to ask something. Have you ever been so angry and end up you doing or saying something that you really regretted? Yes. Oh my God, yeah, I've been there too, guys, and I really doing something that I regretted, and I think like I wish I can turn back the time and not doing that. But I learned something from that. Actually, anger is a normal feelings. But if we cannot control it, then anger will control us. Next slide, please. And then, by the way, anger is something that we cannot avoid. Anger is being part of human being. But the matter is how we can deal with the anger. How we can deal with anger, and some people deal with anger in a right way, show the anger in the right way or wrong way. Some people show their angers, they don't want to show their angers, they buried them, they don't want to show it. But some people show it in a healthier way. And today, I want to share 2 simple ways that help me a lot manage my anger in a healthier way. The first one is, next slide please, next slide please. And next slide please. Okay, and then the first way is journaling. When you are angry, there is so much thing in our head that keeps spinning and spinning. And what we want to do at that time is just ngedumel at that, mumbling or rant or saying something in our head all at once. But saying that all at once, and then maybe if we write it down, open our notebooks, and pouring all of the things in our head in the notebooks, that's really help us to reflect us, and then cooling down our anger, and then figuring out the situation more clear. Yeah, and then the second way is, next slide please. The second way is communication. You know, when you are angry and then you're cooling down, and then you start talking with the people that make you mad, or people, your friends, your truly friends that you are trusted, or another people that you want to talk at that time, that is really help you solve your problem, solve your angriness. When I'm angry and I start doing the talk, and I realize that it can figure it out, solving the problem. And for example, like you are angry, and then you are start journaling, and then you realize the situation, and then you realize your feelings. And then you talk with the people that you make you angry, and then you share your POV, and then they will share their POV too, and then guess what? The situation gets more better, right? And then after that, maybe you can, after you mad, maybe you can talk with your people that make you mad. You know, anger is a normal feelings that everyone can feel that feelings. But the difference is how we can deal with the anger. For me, journaling and communication help me to manage my anger more. And so next, when you are really mad, maybe you can just try that. And instead of exploding the anger, maybe write it first and talk later. Thank you. I forgot to say next. Sorry.
Okay, next we have Raka Rahardian.
Hello, good morning everyone. So I will ask you first, have you ever met someone who can make you laugh, make you think, and also inspire at the same time? Yes. That person, in my opinion, is Raditya Dika. Raditya Dika is not only a comedian, but also a great speaker. He can turn a good public speaking ideas into something good. So he can grab people attention to him and make people laugh. But what makes Raditya Dika feel so special? But how is how is good at the how is how is good at public speaking, because Raditya Dika can turn like so when he is like doing something like in the front of seminar or talking in a stand-up comedy or in a show, he can when people crowds, he can turn it into a joke, so when people make laugh again, and he show that he is good because when he also share what he knows about his like how to communicate better and to be confident or something like that. So what he got here is that he's so a big role model in public speaking in Indonesia, I think. So when I think about him, it's just he's really good because he can make people attention to him and before become a comedian, he was a writer. His first book was Kambing Jantan. It became a bestseller book, and from there he's making a YouTube videos, making movies, make a song. That's really show that he's so creative and intelligent. So that's why I think he's good, really good role model. And I think that's why he's a good role model because of that. So when he's turned from the intelligence and the humor, the humor is not just only about a random jokes. He observe people and learning people how he react at the everything like that. So he's smart because not only make a random jokes but observe people and something like that. He's really enjoy he speak at the stage, and I think that's a good idea. So that's why. So maybe one day we can learn from the Raditya Dika role model, so we can speak a better way and make the same spirit like Raditya Dika. And thank you.
Thank you, Raka. So next we have Siti Nur Aisyah.
Hi, good morning everyone. How are you guys today? Okay. How are you guys feeling well today? And in this beautiful Thursday morning, I want to tell you guys about something that I think is really important to us. You know, it's about something that I'm doing right now. Can you guess what? Speech, public speaking? Yeah, it's about public speaking and professionalism. Guys, have you ever thought that public speaking is just about standing in front of the people and talking? Well, I used to think about that until I realized that public speaking is not just something simple like that. You know, I don't think that my public speaking is that good enough until I'm being part of co-facilitator at Pionir Gadjah Mada 2025. But public speaking is not just simply about speaking in front of people, but it contains many other aspects. Like it contains how we engage with the audience, how we manage nervous, and how to convey message clearly and effectively without sounding negative. And during my time as a co-facilitator, I learned that speaking well doesn't just happen naturally, but it contains practice, feedback, and consistent improvement. I learned how to arrange my words so that it's not sounding negative, and how to make appropriate body language, how to maintain eye contact, and how to vary my tone, and how to make an interesting and interactive atmosphere so the audience, and in my experience is Gamada or Gadjah Mada Bunda, don't get bored. And besides that, I learned how to improving my public speaking skills. Another proven lesson that I learned is the important roles of being professional. You know, professionalism is not just about dressing appropriately or arriving on time, but it's about attitudes, behaviors, and ethics that we demonstrate at work. Being co-facilitator taught me a lot about how professionalism is not just about how others perceive us, but it's about how we perceive and carry ourselves. Through this experience, I observed that maintaining professional demeanor can help us to build trust and respect. Like, I learned how to respecting the deadline, managing time, and adapting to diverse team dynamic and another unexpected things that probably happened. And I think that I'll already explain why professionalism is contribute to our career paths, because it reflects our commitment, reliability, and ability to handle challenges. And to wrap things up, I found that public speaking is not just simply about speaking in front of the others, but it contains practice and well prepared. And also, being professional is not just about dressing nicely or being on time, but it's about how you act and how you treat the others. I think that's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I'm calling Abdul Azril.
All right, hello guys. Hear me out. Indonesia really needs more money because according to PPS in 2025, there are more than 23 million people in Indonesia who are still living billion of money. We can just solve all of the problems in just one night. All of poor people will be saved. Even us, we don't have to work. We don't have to go to college. But why, like, it is so obvious, right? But if it's so obvious, why don't they just do it? Like from yesterday, why didn't they just do it? So that's why, please guys, pay attention. And with me, I'm Abdul Azril Kurniawan. We're about to find out why printing money isn't gonna make you rich. So Irving Fisher, in his theory of quantity of money, he said that if you have huge amount of money, the increase of money and the increase of the cycle of money without followed by the output or the productivity of money, it will increase the price. So let's break it down. The first one, imagine in a village, there are 4 people, each of them selling different kind of product. A selling bread, B selling meat, C selling fruit, and then D selling milk. Now imagine A has a piece of money. Now A buys meat, and then B buys fruit from C, and then C buys milk from D, D buys buys bread from A, and then the process will continue, like repeating. Yes, so it creates a cycle of money. Now imagine that A has a money printer. He prints extra pieces of money. The result is A is able to buy more meat, and then B is able to buy more fruit. C is able to buy more milk, and then D is able to buy more bread. Now notice that after the money printing process, there are more items that is being sold. Now imagine that A print more money. You can guess the result, right? There will be more and more item that will be sold. So the economic cycle increase alongside with the increase of the amount of money. It sounds good, right? They can buy anything with it. But here's the problem. If there are lots of money, but the production, like the production of meat, the production of fruit, the production of milk, we cannot increase it like we can just print out the money. So the items eventually will be empty. They will run out items eventually. So they cannot buy anything with all of the money. So in this situation, while there is a lot of money but they cannot buy anything, the only solution to use that money is to increase the price. So guys, actually printing money will increase the price in the market. That is called hyperinflation. Now the second one is, okay, so the example of this one is in Zimbabwe in 2008. The government prints the money excessively. They think that they will get more rich by printing money, but it results that if you want to buy 3 pieces of eggs, you have to bring a cart of money. So it won't work. The second reason is, let's take a look at the money, how the money evolves. First we use barter, it was ineffective. The second we use gold, but it's still ineffective because the value of gold is too high. Like we cannot buy a kilogram of rice with a kilogram of gold, right? We cannot buy a piece of apple with a gram of gold. So because the value is too high, they decided to divide the value of gold by creating ancient money. Like for example, I have a gram of gold and then I want to divide it into 10 money. So that each money of my money is worth of 0.1 gram of gold. So there is something behind the money, like the value. The money is just a representation of gold. And then in our modern life, it works the same, but the difference is it doesn't use gold anymore. It uses the productivity of economic in a country. So we know that money, there must be something behind it, like the value behind the money. So if we print money, we're basically print out money out of thin air, not from something valuable. Let's break it down. Next. Okay, imagine a country has imagine a country has a value this big. Now they decided to turn it into some money. Next. So basically, if they print money, they just dividing some value they have. And then imagine that country wants to become more rich and then decided to print more money. So guys, basically, they're not adding any value. They're just dividing more and more the value into some money. So the money, the value of each money become less than before. So if you want to become rich, the thing is you have to add the value. So after you add the value, you can print more money, and then the money is worth it. So that's why, guys, we cannot just print out money without any adding value. The first one is because it creates hyperinflation. The second one is because you cannot just print out money out of a thin air. I think that's all from me. I'm Abdul Aziz Kurniawan. Thank you very much.
Alright, thank you Azril. Now we have Lintang. Lintang Permadi, it's yours.
Okay, just imagine guys, you're sitting in a classroom or have a meeting with room full of people, and suddenly there is just unpleasant smell that makes you hard to focus. It is very, very uncomfortable, right? Something simple as body odor actually can affect the whole atmosphere around you. That's why keep our personal body hygiene is very important. It's not just about looking neat or stylish, but also it's about make others feel comfortable too. And one of the easiest way to do that by using perfume and deodorant. Good morning everyone, my name is Lintang Permadi. So today I'm going to talk about two things. The first one, I'm going to explain about how fragrance prevent our body odor and how they make our surrounding more pleasant for everyone. Okay, start with something that simple and all people experience with that, sweat. It's totally fine, it's totally okay. But when sweat mixed with bacteria on our skin, it makes unpleasant smell, right? A public health actually found that about 60% of people feel less confidence when they realize that other people can smell their sweat. It is a lot of number of people just because of a simple thing, really simple thing, they lost their confidence. And by that, fragrance come in. Deodorant will target the bacteria that cause of smell, while perfume adds some freshness and pleasant scent. While we use them daily, we don't just smell